Hello and welcome back. Please like and subscribe to the channel if you enjoy the videos. In today's video, AITA for throwing homebrew things into a published adventure to stop metagaming. How do I proceed with a player taking issue with it? So I'm running Descent into Avernus with 5 players on RO1120. For the most part the group is great and gets along well, but one of the players is metagaming hard. Knows the exact words to every puzzle, even killed a few people who would eventually turn on them at first meeting. It was very annoying to me for there to be no surprises or twists or anything for the other players to enjoy or sort out on their own. I tried talking to him about it, and when that didn't work I called him on it in-game. That still didn't work, so I've been changing the information in the game while still keeping the goals and spirit of the adventure the same. Our first game with my new stuff was yesterday, and he got angrier and angrier as the session went on, even as far as arguing with me because that's not what's supposed to happen, and things like that. While I won't lie, it felt good to finally break the metagaming. I don't want there to be hostilities between myself and any player, and I don't wanna kick him out of the group or anything, but he's not answering calls or messages. So, am I the asshole here? How would you fix this? Why on earth do you want this guy back? Let him go. This is one of the most anti-fun and pointless behaviors you can engage in within a game. Absolutely. I've played through modules that I've played or even run before. When that happens, you announce this fact, and then metagame how little you're doing to drive the plot. I'd play my character, but I'd never drive decisions. I'd let the other players make every decision of weight, and I just participated where I could without changing anything, like a time traveler who could still kill people in combats. Geek social fallacy number 1, ostracizers are evil. Basically us nerds hate the experience of being ostracized, so we tend to really want to never kick anyone out of anything even when they're really obnoxious. Honestly, my experience has always been that geek communities are some of the most gatekeepy, judgmental communities that exist on the internet. I can think of countless stories I've read of nerds ostracizing others for not being nerdy enough. See, any woman that is forced to run through the gauntlet of validating their geek identity. Similar to how abusers are often victims of abuse themselves, those who were ostracized have a tendency to ostracize others. It's changing for the better, thankfully, but elitism and gatekeeping is extraordinarily common in nerdy communities. Wait, it's not even metagaming, i.e., I've played enough D&D that I know the saves and AC of that cookie-cutter red dragon. It's literally, I've read the module in advance, and use that knowledge to squash the scenario and win at D&D. I've been in that position once. DM had to drop the campaign, and I started playing it with another new group, DM. The solution is to be upfront about it, and act like a wet rag with no strong opinion until you've cleared the relevant modules. You're definitely in your right to homebrew whatever, or honestly even get rid of a belligerent player. I know some people don't like to bring Critical Role into this, but they have a pretty good example. There's one episode of Campaign 2 where one character has a plan to pretend to be dead, but the character never told any other character, just the player. The cleric at the time it happened laughs a bit and decides to not metagame, shouting the name of the other character and running to him, then casts a healing spell, basically wasting it because she thought he was dead. I liked that moment because it shows what the character would do without outside knowledge. Anyone else might have had their cleric know he was pretending, or just didn't act out in an effort to heal him because the player knew he was pretending. I appreciate that she didn't. Need I remind you that I am the DM and what I say is what happens? What is supposed to happen, happened. And when you're just done with his BS, I am going to ask you to leave the game. I know you don't want to kick him, that's not a conversation anyone enjoys. But he is in effect ruining the enjoyment of what's supposed to be fun. A choice needs to be made since you've already called him out on it and he refused to better himself. I don't think you're an asshole. Just a DM trying to weave a nice story, and some actual asshole is ruining it with meta-knowledge. You do need to ask yourself a question though, are you having fun? No? Then what's the point of playing with this person? You are not the asshole, and you should kick that player out. They've read the adventure, and are trying to win D&D, and reading the adventure is an utter dick move that should result in expulsion 100% of the time. Literally tell them up front they've clearly already done the adventure, so they won't be doing it again with you, and boot them from the game. This one's easy. Well, but, as you can see, it just most certainly did. I am here to play a unique story with all of you, not read your script. From now on, think of the written module as some sort of guideline on which I will roughly act. There will be new stuff. There will be changed stuff. And if that is not to your liking, I am sorry you feel that way, but I will not change my mind. Because I want to have fun with you and currently I don't have any. So either adapt or leave on your own. But don't spoil anything while you are here, neither story nor mood. Otherwise you will have to leave. Also, there are tons of additional material over at the DMS Guild, some behind paywall, some for free, since Avernus is both a nice place as well as an owl season. Wizards handed them out at the start of quarantine as well. NTA. What he's doing isn't just metagaming. It is straight up cheating. It's simply unacceptable, and while I'm sure you have your reasons, you really should consider kicking him out, especially if you already talked to him and it did nothing. Keeping him will only sour the experience for the other players and cause you a good deal of headaches from having to change so much stuff. Because yes, by the way, you are perfectly allowed to change an official module. If your players aren't cheaters they won't even know. Honestly, I'd call shenanigans on their end. You seem fine to me. You tried talking to them, then you brought it to the attention of the group, hopefully not in a bad way, then you took solutions generally within their purview of the GM to alter details. The player sounds like they aren't willing to work with you. And considering it sounds like you stated you want the other players to enjoy the story. And they're breaking TNE story. It just doesn't sound like this is a good fit. Realistically the choices I see are, keep changing TH content and they can deal, or quit themselves. Or ask them to leave. This seems far more like a fundamental playstyle difference. Frankly, if he stopped answering your questions, sounds like he probably already self-quit to an extent. But be sure to be clear with the group as to the situation. Facts-wise, don't place blame etc. Just be frank that they are metagaming and ruining the storyline for them and you. Because this is a cooperative game and the GM has to be enjoying it too. Fact is, if he's hauling off on people, even if they're evil later, that should have consequences now. The town hates him, or some NPC won't work with the serial killer that everyone sees them as. Punish them as a normal society would. I've never played or heard of this game though, so I see an 8 give actual details to that concept. If he starts killing people who haven't done anything yet, you can send the authorities after him. He'll have a heck of a time explaining himself in character. Detective Putz here, you're under arrest for being an actual serial killer. You're not in the module. What the heck is this sicko talking about? Take him away, boys. Well, 3 options. Most popular is to kick him. He is ruining the game for you and won't change. So are you willing to spend energy so someone can win and the rest of the party do nothing? Option 2, if you don't mind, put it for the party, ask between sessions, how do they feel about their one friend doing everything? If you and they all don't mind, continue until you quit. Option 3, keep up the homebrew until he rage quits. I usually try to think of the other guy's perspective in a situation that seems obvious, but I've got nothing here. You talk to him about it out of game, which is always the best way to resolve an in-game issue. He didn't care, so you changed things up so as not to flatten the adventure for the rest of the players. Now he's griping about it. I say just keep playing. If he wants to play a game of D&D, he'll get over it. If he doesn't, well, the digital door is that way. This guy is literally cheating and you're the punk buster. If he really gets that mad over you changing the story in order to keep it interesting and not have it ruined, kick him out. This is your story to tell as the DM and certainly not his story to ruin. He sounds like a child, honestly. What kind of person gets that mad over not being able to cheat? Absolutely NTA. Basically none of the published adventures are perfect and it's totally your prerogative to adjust the NPCs, combat encounters, treasure items and storyline as you see fit for your table. The only possibility that you could be in the wrong would be if you were changing the actual rules that you're playing by without agreeing with the players first. Speak to the other players. Are they getting annoyed by this person knowing how the story is going to go? I certainly would be, if I were playing at that table. If the others are on board with it, then maybe your DM style is not a good match for their play style. If they're not, then ask them to back you up in talking to the problem player. I know you say you don't want to boot them, but if this is the line you're drawing on the game, you have to stand by it.